Picture this, a quiet, fog-covered road in the middle of nowhere. It's late and all you want is to make it home. But then, your headlights catch the faint outline of something in the distance. A car, stranded, left in the middle of the road. It was strange enough to find a car like this, abandoned on such a remote road, but there was something about it that didn't feel right. No signs of an accident, no hazard lights, and no one in sight. It was as if it had just been left there. The first thought? Call for help. But out here there's no cell signal. You're completely alone with this mystery, just your car, the dark road, and this silent, ominous vehicle. As you get closer, you notice details that make your skin crawl. The car door is slightly open, as if someone left in a hurry. The windows are darkened, but you can see smudges, like someone had been desperately pressing their hands against the glass trying to get out. A single footprint, leading away from the car and disappearing into the thick woods. But why just one? And where did the person go? Every instinct is telling you to turn around and drive off, but there's an undeniable pull, a need to know what happened here. You finally peek inside, expecting something. But the car's interior is oddly clean, almost sterile. No keys, no personal items, just a strange, suffocating stillness, as if the car itself was hiding a secret. Then you spot it, a note, resting on the passenger seat. You reach out, hand trembling, and pick it up. The handwriting is frantic, almost illegible, like it was scrawled in a rush. Your heart pounds as you read the message. Don't look in the trunk. But now, that's all you can think about. Who was this person? What were they so afraid of? And what's in that trunk? The fog thickens, the darkness presses in, and the air feels heavier, colder, as if the whole world is holding its breath. Your instincts scream at you to leave, but curiosity wins. With trembling hands, you grip the trunk's edge and lift. What you see inside makes your blood run cold. It's a set of photographs, hundreds of them, and in each one is a picture of you, taken from somewhere nearby. Some from your school, your work, your home, and the most recent one, taken on this very road, just minutes before you arrived. The realization hits you like a cold wave. Whoever left this car here had been following you, watching you, and they're still out there. Your mind races. Should you get back in the car and drive, or is it already too late? Your car won't start. Panic claws at you as you desperately twist the keys in the ignition. All the while you can feel eyes watching you, pressing in from every direction. You look up, heart pounding, just in time to see a figure emerging from the darkness. A face you don't recognize, but somehow feels chillingly familiar. And as they step closer, you realize you were never meant to leave this road. Sometimes, curiosity is a deadly mistake. Monument Valley, a place of breathtaking beauty and ancient mystery. For centuries, its rugged landscape has stood as a sentinel of time, bearing witness to the stories of those who dared to venture too far. But for one unsuspecting couple, a wrong turn would lead them down a path where reality blurs and the past whispers through the cracks of the earth. Their journey began like any other, a road trip to escape the monotony of city life. The couple was eager to explore the iconic landmarks of the valley, following a carefully planned route. But as the sun dipped below the horizon and the GPS signal wavered, fate had other plans. A simple decision, a moment of curiosity. They chose the lesser-traveled road, believing it would lead them to a scenic overlook. What they found was something else entirely. The road ended abruptly at an old trading post long forgotten. The air was heavy, carrying a sense of unease. And then they saw them, figures, standing motionless among the rocks in the distance. At first they thought it was a trick of the light, an illusion born of exhaustion. But the figures were real, silent, watching. The couple hurriedly retreats to the car. The engine sputters, refusing to start. Panic sets in. Stranded in the heart of the valley, the couple was at the mercy of the desert and whatever entities lingered in its shadows. As they retraced their steps, the landscape morphed around them. What should have been a simple walk back to the main road became a labyrinth of shifting sands and towering rocks. And then the sound. A hum that seemed to emanate from the very ground beneath them. It was disorienting, almost hypnotic. They couldn't tell if it was drawing them forward or warning them to turn back. The figures returned, their silent presence an undeniable force. They didn't speak, yet their message was clear. You don't belong here. In their desperation, they chased the glimmer of salvation. But as they neared, the lights flickered, revealing not a vehicle, but an old lantern hanging from a solitary pole. And just like that, the figures were gone. The hum ceased. The road, once lost, stretched out before them as if nothing had ever happened. Back in the safety of civilization, they shared their story. The locals' expression darkened. You're lucky to be alive. They say the valley protects its secrets. Those figures, they guard the land, ensuring no one disturbs what lies beneath. They left Monument Valley with more questions than answers. But one thing was certain. Some roads are meant to stay forgotten. They say the open road holds a lot of secrets, but sometimes those secrets find you. It was supposed to be a quick break on a long drive, a moment to stretch their legs, grab some air, and continue their journey. But for this group of friends, that rest stop would be the beginning of something they could never leave behind. They'd been driving for hours, deep into the wilderness. It was the kind of place you could easily drive past and not think twice. But that's where it happened, where they found the photos. At first it seemed like just a single misplaced photograph, a Polaroid, old and weathered, lying in the dirt. A bit strange, sure, but nothing more. They laughed it off, dismissing it as someone's lost memory. But as they explored the area, more Polaroids started to appear. Scattered, seemingly random, but each one more unsettling than the last. Each photo held something darker. The expressions on the faces seemed wrong. Fear, desperation, and something else that was hard to put into words. They started to feel as if they were intruding on something that wasn't meant to be seen. One friend wanted to leave, said they were just someone's twisted idea of a prank. But the others couldn't shake a feeling, a gnawing sensation in the pit of their stomachs that this wasn't just a prank. These photos felt like a message. As they got back in the car, they decided to head to the nearest town. Something about the faces in the photos wouldn't leave them. There was a haunting familiarity, as if these people could be anyone, even them. The ride felt longer than it should have. Every shadow along the roadside seemed to watch them. Then, just when they thought they were safe, one of them noticed something strange. It was a person, barely visible in the mirror's reflection, standing by the side of the road, holding a Polaroid camera. No one had seen them before, and as quickly as they spotted the figure, it was gone. Panic set in. Had they seen a ghost? Was it the person behind the photos? They didn't know, and no one was brave enough to find out. Hours passed, and they finally reached a small town. Still clutching the Polaroids, they showed them to the local sheriff, hoping he could explain what they'd seen. But instead of answers, they were met with something worse. Recognition. The sheriff's expression darkened, and he asked a question that sent chills through them. Where exactly did you find these? He explained that years ago there had been disappearances along that road. People who were last seen in the exact spot where they'd found those Polaroids. The cases were cold, unsolved until now. As they left the sheriff's office, they felt a strange mix of relief and terror. They thought they'd left the mystery behind, until they got back in the car. There, waiting for them, was another Polaroid. This one was new, crisp. It showed them, looking over their shoulders at the gas station, but no one had taken the picture. Their minds raced. Who was watching them? Who left the photo? They'd left that stretch of road hours ago, yet somehow it followed them. They thought they could outrun it, forget it, pretend it was just a strange experience on an old road. But some stories, they don't end so easily. Because once you've seen the faces, the fear, it's as if someone, somewhere, always knows where you are. If you're enjoying these stories so far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell. Your support motivates us to keep creating even more great content. Now back to our final story. Route 66, one of America's most iconic highways. Once a path to adventure, freedom, and the wide-open road. But every mile holds a story, and some of those stories are the kind you can't easily forget. This one? Well, it'll make you think twice about offering a ride to a stranger. Our story begins with a man. Let's call him the driver. He'd been on the road for hours, chasing a horizon that never seemed to end. The quiet of the open road had settled into a steady rhythm. He was lost in his own thoughts when he spotted something up ahead. A figure, standing by the roadside, arm raised, thumb out. He hesitated. A lone hitchhiker in the middle of nowhere? It was a bit strange, he thought. But the driver was the kind who believed in lending a hand. Besides, it's just one person. What could go wrong? As the stranger leaned into the window, the driver caught a glimpse of him. Or rather, he caught a glimpse of nothing. No eyes, no mouth, no features at all. Just a blank, unsettling void where a face should have been. He brushed it off. Maybe it was just the shadow, or maybe he was just exhausted. But as they drove on, an eerie silence settled between them, a silence that seemed to get heavier with every passing mile. The driver tried to shake the tension, breaking the silence with some small talk. But the stranger just stared straight ahead, his empty face emotionless, unmoved. The driver's words drifted into the air like echoes, unanswered, unwanted. He was starting to feel a chill that had nothing to do with the desert night. The stranger's silence was unnerving, pressing on him like a weight. He could feel his skin crawl as he stole glances at the figure beside him, every glance confirming the same thing. No face, just a blank void. He thought about stopping, making an excuse to pull over and end this strange ride. But something in his gut told him that might be an even bigger mistake. So he kept driving, hoping that soon he'd reach a town, a gas station, something to break this disturbing silence. 20 more miles. That's all that separated him from a small town and an end to this bizarre experience. But as they neared the exit, the stranger suddenly turned toward him. Even with no eyes, no mouth, the driver could feel the stranger watching him. Then, for the first time, the stranger moved. Without a word, he raised a hand and pointed at the exit sign. The driver's heart pounded. Every instinct screamed at him to keep driving, but something about that silent gesture made him slow down against all logic. The road twisted, narrowed, and led them to an old, abandoned motel, a place that looked like it hadn't seen a guest in decades. The driver's pulse quickened. He couldn't help but wonder, why here? And what did this faceless stranger want? The driver killed the engine, the silence swallowing them. He waited, half expecting the stranger to say something, to explain why they'd come to this godforsaken place. But the stranger only turned, reaching into his coat pocket. Slowly, the stranger handed him a photo. The driver's fingers trembled as he took it, his heart thudding as he looked down. The photo was of him, driving this same car, the same stranger in the passenger seat, the exact scene from just moments ago. He looked up, his heart pounding in his chest, but the passenger seat was empty. The stranger was gone. No door had opened. No sound, no movement, just gone. The driver sat there alone, clutching the photo, his mind reeling. Was it a hallucination? A nightmare? Or something else? Something that couldn't be explained? He drove away, leaving the motel behind, but a sense of dread lingered. And as he glanced in the rearview mirror one last time, a chill ran down his spine. He could have sworn, just for a split second, he saw that faceless stranger sitting there right in the back seat. They say that some roads have secrets, and some passengers leave behind memories that haunt you forever. If you love this episode, be sure to check out our other videos. Thank you for watching. See you on our next video.